Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off on the floor with our mindfulness exercise. So we're just making ourselves as wide as possible. We try to confine ourselves and kind of sit small usually, but right now we're going to make ourselves as big as we can, as flat as we can on the floor, taking as much space as possible, and then closing your eyes if you're comfortable, and using this time, using this space to come back into your body. As you open yourself up, go ahead and take deep breaths. Go ahead and take one more deep, deep breath here. And then let's bring our legs back together. Let's bend our knees. We're going to go ahead and roll over to our right side. We're going to come up. And we're going to start our practice with a flow. So we're going to start in child's pose, and then we're going to come up to table. So I'll quickly demonstrate. We're going to start off extending our arms, our shoulders are relaxed, and then taking a deep breath in, inhaling, we're going to pull against our mat with our hands to come all the way up. You're going to come into table. You may need to adjust your legs. And then exhaling through your mouth, we're going to come all the way back down, extending ourselves once again, stretching our hips, stretching our shoulders. And so let's go ahead and do that a couple of times. So we'll start in child's pose. And then on your next inhale through your nose, go ahead and pull against the mat to come all the way up. We'll hold once you finish your inhale. And then exhaling, release it all out through your mouth, bringing your hips back to your feet. And then we'll begin the cycle again. But go ahead and go at your own pace now, listening to your own breath. Remember, those transitions should be nice and smooth. We're not rushing to get anywhere. Taking your time and moving with your breath. Go ahead and do one more cycle. And then exhaling, I'm going to have you guys end in child's pose, extended child's pose. And once you've reached this spot, go ahead and walk both of your hands maybe a foot or two, just a foot, off to the right side. Both your hands are going to move a little bit towards the right side, and that's just going to give you a nice stretch in your entire left side. And the more you reach towards the front of your mat and the left side of your mat, the right side of your mat, the more stretch you're going to get in your left side. And then inhaling, let's go ahead and walk those hands back to center. Exhaling, we are going to walk our hands just a foot to the left side now. So now we're really stretching that entire right side. And then inhaling, let's come back to center. And then go ahead and come all the way up and we'll sit. Alright, so hopefully that kind of woke up and energized you in some way. But we're going to kind of work on that a little bit more. We're going to energize ourselves. So we're going to do just a pose or two here. So I'll quickly demonstrate. We've done this before, so I won't take too long. We're going to start in table. We're going to tuck our toes under. We're going to lift our hips up and back into dog pose. And we're just using dog pose here just as a way to transition ourselves into warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. So we're taking our right leg forward, then I'm going to turn this back leg back so that my heel is on the floor. And then I'm going to push into the floor, inhaling, finding my stability, finding my balance to come all the way up. I'm going to really try not to stand like this, but I'm going to sit and go fully, putting my 100% into that pose, sitting on this, tightening this back leg, pushing the heel into the floor, and breathing. And then, of course, we'll come all the way down. We'll bring that heel up and then transition back into downward facing dog. So that is what we're going to be doing on both sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and start in table. Finding your neutral. Remember, there's no rush, so trying to do this pose in the most calm way you can. Let's go ahead and tug our toes whenever you're ready and lifting your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And then we'll lift the right leg up into the air, and then it's going to come into our chest and in between our hands. All right, and then from there, let's go ahead and turn that back leg so that our foot is completely on the floor. Our toes will be facing the left side of the mat. And then inhaling, go ahead and push off the floor with your hands, coming all the way up, finding your stability and really sitting in this front, on this front. So try and acquire that strength in your back leg as well by tightening your quads, tightening your calf. One more breath here, really opening yourself up. Alright, and then exhaling, let's go ahead and swan all the way to the floor, bringing our hands flat on the floor. Lift that left heel off the floor and Go back into dog pose. Go ahead and notice the difference between the right side and the left. And then go ahead and lift the left leg into the air now. We'll bring it into our chest and in between our hands. All right, and then go ahead and adjust the back leg, back foot. Toes are facing the right side of the mat, and then pushing off the floor. Inhaling, opening yourself up. Using that time to come up nice and slow. There's no rush. One last breath. And then exhaling, come all the way to the floor. Bring that back, the front leg to the back leg so that we're in dog pose. And then we'll bend our knees, bringing them to the floor. And we're just going to go into resting child's pose for just a breath or two. So bringing your hands to your feet. And then go ahead and come up now. Go ahead and take our left knee into, we're going to bend it and bring the left knee directly in line with the center of our body. And then our right knee, we're going to place it right above, right up on top. Aligning it as well with the center line of our body. So if this is a little too much for you, it's a little too intense, you can always come up here, placing that foot on the floor. So from there, let's go ahead and do our hands. Remember, even when we're in the full position, we don't want to forget this position of opening up our chest and not rounding. So try to keep this in mind, and then let's go ahead and take our arms up. And we're going to bend right arm, and then the left arm is going to come out. We're going to twist it so the palm is facing the back of the room, and then we'll take that arm around, and we're going to either just hold our back, or if you can hold opposite hands, or hold your hands basically, you can do that. Breathing here and opening up your chest. And then let's go ahead and release our hands now. And we're going to change the cross of our legs. So we'll take the left knee now in first, the right knee now in first, and then the left knee is going to come over the top. Both knees are directly in line with the center line of our body, and then if it's more intense, obviously you can bring that knee up if you need to. All right, so let's go ahead and do our arms now. We'll inhale those hands up. And then the left arm is going to bend now, and right will come out to the side. We'll twist it, and then we'll bend that arm as well. So try to keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. Try not to let those arms kind of put to looking down. You want to still continue to look straight in front of you with your neck in line with the rest of your spine. One more breath here. And then we'll release the arms and we'll release the legs. One more asana we're going to do, Sukhasana, and we're just going to do seated torso circles. So go ahead and come into Sukhasana, and then all we're doing is just moving our torso in a circular motion, really targeting these outer hips. So really coming all the way down if you can, and then going all the way to the sides. And then let's go ahead and find neutral. And we're going to switch our legs. We're going to bring the left or whatever other leg you have and cross that shin in front. And this is going to feel a little uncomfortable because we're so used to the other side. But now we're going to go the opposite way. If you're going clockwise, going counterclockwise, and vice versa. And then we'll finish in neutral. So we're just going to do table, go into downward facing dog, and then from there we'll transition quickly into pigeon. So let's start in table right now. And then go ahead and tuck those toes under, and we'll lift our hips up and back. And right away, let's just take that right leg up into our chest, and then we're going to cross our shin onto the mat, and then you can move that back. And now we are in pigeon. We're going to stay upright just for a breath or two, and then we'll move ourselves down for a more intense stretch. So right now, just opening up your chest, breathing, taking in all that air as you expand that space in your chest. And on your next exhale, go ahead and walk your hands slowly, gradually down, depending on how far down you want to come. You can rest your head on the floor if you would like to. But wherever you are, giving yourself a chance to rest, to breathe, and to really stretch out that right outer hip. And then go ahead and walk those hands all the way back up. And we will tuck the back toe under, lift ourselves up and back into downward facing dog. And now we'll go right into our left side, lifting the left into the air and then into our chest, crossing that leg onto the mat as we take the right leg, moving it back. And we're going to stay up, remember, for just a breath or two. Opening ourselves up and stretching the left outer hip. And then slowly making our way down, taking a few breaths here. Alright, and then walking, hands back. Let's tuck that toe under. And we'll lift ourselves up into dog pose. We'll stay here for a breath. And the knees can come to the floor. And we will right into Shavasana. So finding your comfortable place, extending out the legs, palms are facing up, and gently closing your eyes to allow yourself to find peace in your mind and physically releasing everything. So as we take our last breaths here in Shavasana, go ahead and allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. If that's tired, just letting the tired be noticed. If that's energy, being aware of that. And then go ahead and start to move fingers and toes. Wrists and ankles. Bending a knee at a time. Gently nodding or shaking your head. And then we'll roll over to our right side and come all the way up. And let's find a seated position. We'll bow our head. Namaste.